we starting this one off. We got a couple minutes before I have to head out here, so try to make this video not too long. I don't know why we showing this down here, but yeah, today we're going over, as you see in the title, risk management. So we're gonna throw this on there, risk management. Yeah. Risk management. We're always trading the NQ and ES. So, but boom. All right. So risk management. Let me see. How do we explain this? The best way. I don't want it to be at no 20, no 12. Okay. That's not bad. That's 24. Cool. All right. Risk management. Risk management is let's see, let's break it down. We got about like 2 to 3 factors. Okay. 3 factors, right? First factor we have, right, before we even get to your RR, your risk to reward, right here, right? So before we even get to RR, the first thing we need to cover is psychology, right? So with risk management, you want to protect your psychology over anything. That means if the day is looking like this, pretty choppy, and like got a lot of volume here and there, but you're not really seeing your setup, protect your psychology over anything. That's the main thing with risk management and with trading. You need to protect your mindset, because your mindset is your money maker here. If you're in the wrong mindset, you are not going to perform correctly, or you're going to revenge trade or gamble or whatever. Sorry. So the first thing we're protecting is our mindset. Let's type that up here. Okay. One set. Boom. 2. What are we going with? 2. Risk to reward, right? You hear people say RR, whatever. It's simple, right? Risk to reward is basically you're not entering a trade that's negative. RR, meaning if my stop is down here, I wouldn't be targeting this, because I'm going to lose significantly more than what I'm going to make if this doesn't play out, right? So why do we do this? You want to have at least a 1-to-1 or higher, because if you lose, right, your losses should not outdo your win. So if you have a high win rate, let's say somebody has like a hundred, like I said 100, somebody has like a 80% win rate, they're most likely taking smaller RR trades like this, which is a 1-to-1, 1.5, right? So basically, if they're risking $200 here, they're making $300, right? And that's okay, because they have a high win rate, which means they're going to win most of their trades, and when they lose, they're not going to lose over what they made, right? So it's alright, because you have a high win rate. But you can also still be profitable with a win rate like this. So say you only target 1-to-3s or 1-to-4s, right? Your win rate is going to be a lot less percentage wise. You're going to be a lot less, because you know you have a closer stop. It's easier for you to get stopped out and stuff like that, right? But with this, it makes it easier to stay profitable too, because I'm getting 4 times my risk on this trade. So if I'm risking 200, I'm making 800. We'll put a calculator out over here. Calculator out. What the heck? I don't know what it pulled out, y'all. But we'll put a calculator out over here. So boom, you got 800 off this trade. Then let's say you take a short up here. Stops above the high. You target 1-to-4 again. Boom. Now you got plus 800 again. And let's say you only risking 200 each trade or whatever, right? So now you're at 1600. So then with this, even though you have a lower win rate, which means you might lose the next 3 trades, but since you're risking 200 each trade, look how your profit stays, right? So you can lose 3 days in a row and you're still up $1,000. So that's risk to reward, right? This, I wouldn't say it's like the key or main factor, because there's gonna be times here and there where you're gonna be entering trades and you might have no choice but to take like this, like this. Okay, let's say you like that displacement that happened, right? You enter long here. If you have to have a stop this huge, you have no choice but to take a small trade, which will be like a 1 to 1 to 5 and stuff like that. So all you do is you risk less. Alright, so sizing. This is where contracts come into play. We're on NQ right now, just regular NQ, right? So that's our third. Our third component is sizing slash contracts, whatever, right? So if you're on micros, which I should have put that on here, but basically this is E-mini NASDAQ. This is just the same thing, pretty much the same thing as MNQ, but this one is a lot more heavier. So like if right now it's gonna show you, right? So boom, I'm gonna show you how much it's worth right now. Let's say I was to enter this trade and I press the order, right? It's gonna show the sizing, right? So the sizing, if I was in for one contract, I'm risking 300 to make 700, right? You might be like, okay, if you've been trading for a while, that's not too much. You got a little breathing room and stuff like that. That's cool. But if I was to enter one micro of NQ, which is just a little bit different. Like, let's say if I put in one micro, this would probably just be $50, $25, something like that. Dang. Heck no. Let me hurry this up. Alright, boom. So sizing. You want to be sizing in basically for your risk management. So let's say you got a fresh 50K account and you only have $2,000 worth of drawdown. Before, when you're building that buffer, you don't want to go in here. So let's say it's a 1-day pass account, right? You don't want to go in here and say, okay, boom, I just need to make 3,000 to pass. I'm gonna risk 1,000 on this trade to make 3,000, and then you get stopped out and now half of the account is done. You want to build that buffer, so you want to be sizing in a little bit smaller. So with a trade like this, boom, let's say you enter in, you want to risk about 0.5. Alright, so boom, you're risking 500 to make 1,500. And then what happens if, hopefully this does stop us out so I can show y'all what happens if this stops us out. Alright, boom. Okay, so now you get stopped out. Now you're down 500, right? I know this says 99,000 instead of a 50K, but a 50K account, you will only have 1,500 more drawdown. Now, let's just say I was to take a trade right here, same risk to reward. What I would do differently is because I'm only in, I only have 1,500 worth of drawdown, instead of entering and risking the 500, now you're gonna size down because you're in drawdown. So technically, if it works out, let's see, you're probably gonna get stopped here, but boom. Technically, if it works out, okay, I got stopped out. But if this was to continue going and to hit TP, what would happen is you would have made the 500 back, and then you would have been up 250. So then now you can go back to your normal risk to reward would have been, which would have been 500 again. So that would be leaving us at $250 profit. And then let's say this runs or it stops you out. If it runs, boom, now you just made $1,750 because you were able to risk 500 again because you sized down your other trade instead of just blowing your account. So boom, this would have Hit TP. Oh yeah, it did hit TP. But when that hit TP. But even if it was to stop you out, you would be down now $250 instead of being down $500. So that is sizing and basically all the key components you're gonna need for risk management. First thing you want to protect is your mindset. You're gonna learn that when trading over time. Is your mindset is like the key to everything. Your psychology is the key to everything. I don't care if you have the best strategy in the world. If you're not in the right mindset or don't have the right, psychology to perform it or to execute it properly, you're just gonna keep messing up. Risk to reward, that's just you not taking negative RR trades or something like this, so that when you lose, it takes you 1,000 wins to catch back up. Rather, when you win, it takes you 1,000 losses to lose your profit. You protect your profit, you let your winners run, you cut your losers short. Boom. And then last one, sizing / contracts. This just means you not oversizing for absolutely no reason at all. I don't care if you're mad, you just lost a trade. You're not going to go into the next trade and oversize and risk the whole account. You're going to stay at the right sizing. You're going to learn to size down when you are in drawdown, and you're going to give yourself a little room sometimes to size up when you have a buffer. So a buffer is just above your normal thing. So if this was at a 100K account and I only need 106,000 to pass, once this hits about 1,100, if you have in a drawdown account with like a 1 day pass, so we'll do that later, with no consistency, or a funded account with no consistency or whatever, because you're up 1,000 on the day plus the 2,000 or 3,000 that they give you for drawdown. Now you have a buffer, which is some money over what you are already down, right? And boom, that works good. But I'm gonna head out. I got some stuff to do. Y'all have a nice day. Remember to read your word, pray to God, trust that Jesus loves you, and trade the market, don't gamble it. Y'all all have a nice day, a blessed evening, and stay in the right mindset, stay in the right psychology, and work your heart out, man. Don't have nothing. Just work. Alright.